Hello everyone, I am RexRed and this is an Ez3DTv tutorial, and yes, I like to move my hands around like this because it kind of gives YouTube something to focus on at the beginning of the movie. Well, this could be a movie, I guess. I move around too much and I get my camera can't focus. Alright, today I have an exciting tutorial planned. We are going to be going with animation, and I'm going to kind of talk about the roots of animation at first, just for people who are getting started, trying to figure out if it's something that they want to do and what it entails to do it. Okay, and we're going to take these off. I just wanted to have them on at the beginning of this. It's all about gimmicks, you know, it's about having gimmicks, you know. So, yes, Sigmund and Marlowe, and we've got Sigmund's up top, and I mean Marlowe's up top. He's the polar bear, and then we have Hugo, which is the little wooden guy, and then Sigmund's in the middle, and he's got Albert sitting next to him. So Angus, welcome, welcome, welcome. Very nice to have you here. I hope the broadcast is coming in nice and clear and loud enough. We have to be loud enough. Yes, we must be loud enough. So we are going to switch over to my other computer, and we have this beautiful, beautiful site, and I didn't make it. No, I didn't. I didn't take the picture. It's just my desktop wallpaper. And what we also have here is, I hope everything is awesome, Angus in the hinterlands, my friend. Very nice to have you here. You beat everybody here again, Angus. You are like that Marvel character, Flash Gordon. In a flash, she is here. So very lovely to have you here. So you get to see this from the beginning, so I don't have to recap, because it's all just starting now. So yes. I am a bit croupy to start this all off. We have had pollen. I have found out that I'm quite susceptible to pollen, and I get this tickle in my throat when I get around too much pollen, and I start coughing. So it's not very pretty at all. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to open. Excuse me, I'm going to talk a little bit about my beginnings with animation. When did I first start doing animation? Okay, and that I started doing animation probably about 15 years ago. And I mean, I haven't done it straight. Most of what I do in my life is from that time. What occupied most of my time was making music, and then at some point along the line I picked up Daz Studio. But before Daz Studio, I worked in Poser, and I worked in Bryce, and I worked in After Effects and Photoshop, and it was in, I believe, Bryce Studio may have been the first time that I ever animated anything, but it may have been actually After Effects, and I can't seem to place in my mind which one came first. But I was watching a YouTube video, and somebody showed how to animate in Photoshop, in After Effects. It was a woman, and it was a very, very good video. It was many years when YouTube just started out. And she made this video and said it's very easy to import something as a composite. And so I started with importing objects, and I found it was very easy to just have like text, to move text across the stream, to move something into the video and something out of the video, to have something to animate opacity and things like that, which really excited me. But then there was also, I managed to get a character into, I believe it was Bryce, but it may have actually been, I don't remember if it was Bryce or if it was in Poser. But I managed to get a wizard in there, and there's a wizard, an old wizard, you know, I think it was from the time of maybe Genesis figures or Genesis 2 figures. But it was, it worked in Poser also, or I was able to import it into Daz, into Bryce, one or the other. But it was this magic spell that, and the wizard threw these like little stars, and his I didn't have his clothing animated. I didn't use D-Force or anything, so his kind of suit just kind of moved around like it was like too much starch or something. And it was fun doing it, but I was horribly disappointed with the results. Welcome. Somebody else has come in here. So yes, I was very disappointed with the way my first animation came out. Now, the 2D animation, I was extremely pleased with it. I was able to make moving logos, and it was just like, wow, I can do anything with this, because it wasn't processor, you know, hungry, and it was also, it didn't take forever to render 2D animation, and 2D means it doesn't have depth. So it was just layers of things. So I could have words come in, and then this layer could move around like that, and that layer could move around. Things could spin around it was just, it was really amazing, the 2D animation. And now I'm going to go back a little bit further into computer history, okay? Because I started out with MS-DOS and all of that. And before Windows 3.1, and there was just DOS. And then I started out even before DOS. Before even DOS was DOS. I had a Commodore 64, and I had a TRS-80 computer. And that was, I think, probably close to 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So I remember that it was like Windows 95, about Windows 95, when I was just completely amazed, because when the day Windows 95 came out, I installed it on my computer. I just absolutely had to have it. And Windows 95, we're going to switch to this, okay? Windows 95, I remember, had this song by Edie Brickell called Good Times, and it was like she had done a copy version of a Motown song. Good times, bad times, give me some of that. Okay, so it was like, I just kept playing that. It actually came with a video. Windows 95 actually came with a video. And it was like, before then, with like Windows 3.1 and Windows 90, I believe it was Windows 95. My memory might be a little bit off, but the first thing that really happened with computers, okay, I would say the first thing was text, okay? So we could do text. And so all of my songs that I'd written, I could, instead of using a typewriter and carbon paper and typing things in triplicate and over and over and over and over, you'd type it because you'd get about halfway through the page and make a mistake. And so you just kept typing the same song over and over and over. And I used to sit at night watching like murder mysteries, just typing away on a typewriter, not an actual word processor, on a typewriter, trying to get my songs typewritten. And if I could get them typewritten, I could take them down and photocopy them and send them out in demos and things like that. So the first thing that really happened with computers was text. And you could turn your computer into a word processor, and it was much nicer than a word processor. Word processor had this little teeny kind of gray screen on it, and you had to go through menus and menus and menus to get around inside the word processor. But a computer had a whole screen, and you could actually see. You still have 2 typewriters, Angus? Wow. Wow. That sounds like fun, a fun day to go and type. So, yeah. I got rid of my typewriters. I couldn't lug them around. I can only like travel around and move and all with so much stuff. And once I moved into the city, I didn't have the room I had out in the country, and so I ended up downsizing everything. So the typewriter, okay? And then the first sign that something was about to change with computers was Windows all of a sudden came out with the sound recorder, okay? It was a new little program on Windows that you could open, and you could use these little mics. They had these little mics that you could plug in through your sound card on your computer, and you could actually, because you could play music and you could talk into your computer, like telephone. Thank you very much, 044. It's very nice to have you here. Very nice. I hope everything is well with you. I do. And I hope we have a nice stream today. So I'm hoping we have a nice solid stream and it doesn't have hiccups. So yeah, hoping all is well. It is well. From one of the 1930s, legal carriage. Wow. Yeah, I had one of those big tall ones, and then I had a nice little slim Smith Corona, and but I had one of those big tall ones. It was really hard to. I never had a. I may have for a while. I remember typing on an electric typewriter, but I don't know where. It might have been when I worked at Sears. I used to sell computers at Sears. I used to be that guy, that would come in and he would try to sell you a computer. And I did pretty good at Sears selling computers. So I was there quite a while. Now, the first sign that things were changing, that change was on the horizon, was this sound recorder. Because you were able to record, like, and Windows put a limit on it. They said you could only record like 3 seconds or something. That was the most amount you could record on your computer, was 3 seconds. So I was just banging my head saying, how do I get to record more? I want to record a whole song. I want to play my guitar and record on my computer, and it would just like only let you record 3 seconds. And it didn't really matter how much I wanted to record on my computer, because Windows limited it, because I only had like a 1.2 gigabyte hard drive, and most of that was taken up with Windows. So if I tried to record a whole song, I just run out of space on my hard drive and my computer would just like blue screen and run out. It's like I don't have any memory management. I don't have anything. I can't cache. I'm gone. And so so my computer would just kind of blue screen if I had been able to record more than 3 seconds. So that was a signal that things were about to change. And yes, I am leading up to something that so suddenly, then all of a sudden Cakewalk came out, and if you went into MS-DOS, you could record multi-track. And so that was a big thing. So all of a sudden we went from text to being able to work with sound. And sound was the first thing that really came after text. And you could watch these little teeny videos. They were very hard. They were, and you had to get them, pre-made. There wasn't something like you couldn't record video. No, you could not even 3 seconds. You could only record sound at that point, but you could play video. And so then all of a sudden, so sound as computers had 3 seconds, and then all of a sudden the hard drives got bigger. Everybody got bigger hard drives, and we were able to, then that was lifted and you were able to record as much sound as you want. Cakewalk moved into Windows. DOS we got more memory and all of that stuff, and all of a sudden sound was just nothing anymore. You could just do anything you kind of wanted with sound, sort of, to a degree. But video was in a pathetic state, okay? Because all you could record was this little teeny tiny square frame of video. Once sound got really perfected, you could just record 320 by 240. It was like the size of our old television sets. And believe it or not, there were only 300 lines on every television. It didn't matter if you had bought the Super Duper Zenith or the RCA TV or whatever brand you bought. They all had 300 lines. Okay? And now, I mean, you're viewing me right now in 4K. That's 3,840 lines. Okay, 3,480 lines, not 300. Okay, so that's what's happening. And I'm seeing a few jerks here and there with my camera. I'm not sure why my camera is freaking out. Stop it. Okay, so all of a sudden video started to, NVIDIA invented these, not RTX, what was the other, GTX. They came out with video cards, and all these companies started taking NVIDIA's chips and making video cards. And so you could get a pretty good video card, and that would allow you to maybe go up to 640 by 480, which was double what you could do on a TV. So that was what was the beginning of kind of like HD, and HD was like 720, 1080, but it was like 1K. And then it went up to like Super HD, like 1920 by 1080. And then it went to 2K, and then it went to 4K and 8K, and which it's not really completely at 8K yet. Most people can't do 8K. Most people can't even play an 8K video on their computer right now, okay? So it's like, okay, so we've got text, we've got sound, we've got video. What's next? Okay, what is next? Well, I'll tell you what's next. animation. Okay, animation, it hasn't come yet. Okay, animation is still at that infancy stage where you can make 3 minutes, 3 seconds, 10 seconds of an animation, and it can take you like, you know, 4 hours to render. It can take you 2 days to render 3 seconds of animation on your computer, and your computer is like tied up. You can do maybe a few things, check your email, maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos in the background, but it's kind of slow and sluggish. Your computer is slow and sluggish because it's rendering that animation. Hello, Javier. This is a video on animation in Daz Studio. So I hope all is well with you. Let me know what you think of the video. So, and the topic. So we are right at the gateway, and now these new 4090 graphics cards that NVIDIA has put out, they make it kind of almost there, okay? Where a lot of the problems that you had before a 4090 graphics card have been kind of fixed. And I assume that this 5090 that's coming out is going to be even faster and allow even more to be done. So we're going to jump into this now. Okay, and how do we do that? We come here. All right, and I'm going to show you kind of what animation is from kind of the get-go. Now, I've done videos on animation before, but I'm going to have like a little bit of... Yes, it does take time, and it does take up disk space. And it all depends on how big of an animation you do. And what's nice about animation is you can, in Daz Studio, is you can render it really tiny and then wait until from 10 years from now and come back in when you have a super duper computer that's like a bazillion times faster, and then you can just scale it up and render it again. You know, it's scalable. You can make it tiny, make it big, and nothing's lost, except when you make it tiny, it has a tiny output. Okay, but when you scale it up and you render it, it has a bigger output and takes up bigger files. So the thing is right now, hard disk space isn't really an issue because you can get a 4 terabyte hard drive for like $50, and that's enough to store maybe 1,000 hours worth of animation. So it's not the space, okay, but Javier hit on it. It's the time it takes a long time to render 30 pictures a second. And so, okay, we're going to put a figure into the scene. Okay, I'm going to put the Genesis 9 figure in with their teeth and with their eyes, because I'm still kind of working this out, this whole animation thing, because you just don't really know what you have to have in frame one. Okay. We will put some clothes on him. Okay, I have some black pants now. Yep, they're pretty cool. And then we're going to give him a shape. I don't know why my shape is way over here. But let's move the shape in here because I kind of used that early on. Okay, so who are we going to use here? We'll use... How about Phallus? See how he works. Okay, so we're going to give. Now the thing is you could work on your animation without any skin, okay? Because without it, you don't have those textures to deal with. And you could theoretically, right before you render it, you could put their skin on them, okay? And maybe their hair. I think you should probably have hair on them. But that's the thing, is to put as little in the scene. Like, if you're going to animate, don't fill the whole scene up with stuff and then put your figure in and then start animating your figure, okay? Because everything in the scene is going to take and slow down your animation. Now we're going to open up Heat, the Heat Bridge app, and I just can't believe that they make me sign in every time to do this. It really, really bothers me. Okay, so we're going to switch that to Daz. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here so I can find a password without flashing it to the world. Heat, please fix this. All right, so Heat. And make sure I'm not flashing my edit item. Okay, and then we go here, copy that, and I think I can sign in with just RexRed. Let's see. If not, I'll have to put my email. Log in. No, okay, Rex. This is a pain, having to do this every time. Okay, so, all right. Now, can we come back? All right, it says we're logged in. Okay, Heat is a place. Now, I'm going to show you just some rudimentary stuff. Okay, what I can do is I can go here, and we have poses, okay? Oh, we don't want that. We have poses here. I'm going to close this pane, and we'll close GuestCon for now. And what other panes? We got to leave these open. Okay, content. So if I go into my poses, here's my saved items. Let's see, these would be in categories, Genesis 9 figure, okay, and poses. And see, you're going to get to see the current state of computers and posing and animation, and what can a computer do now, okay? You know, you can typing we take for granted. We take sound recording. Anybody who records sound just doesn't even think that there was a time when, you know, you could only record 3 seconds. And now we have, okay, so we're going to do a search for dance. I don't know if that's, oh, that did kind of find that. Okay, and so we find some kind of dance here. These are poses. And now I know, okay, I do have more dance poses here. Okay, let's try this pose. Why didn't that work? I don't think it's searching in there. Oh, I have to search here. Okay, so what we do is we go to Files. Okay, figure 9, poses, and this searches within that. Okay, and let's close this down. These are all what it did was it found like a Genesis 3 pose or something. No, I'm sure these are not all the poses, but let's try something here. Okay, so we take this pose here, and then we go to the end of the animation. It's only 30 seconds, and we try another pose. I don't know, I may not have put a keyframe in here, but let's see. Might auto keyframe. Yeah, okay, so what happens when we click play? Okay, so what we see is 30 pictures going a second. If we go to 100 frames, let's go to 100 frames. Let's take this frame right here and move it to the end. Okay, and then we'll go back. All right, let's go out of iRay. Okay. And you see what happens is like he's sliding around, his feet are sliding. And that's not really the way 0 through 99, 100. That's not the way people, they don't slide like on both feet, like as if something is pulling them like a chain or something from above or something. They don't slide like that. So now there's a trick with the Genesis 9 figure where you can select the pelvis, okay? And then you go into the bones here, this bones thing, and you grab this red thing here, and you bring it down to the position here, down to like 0. Thinking you bring it here, okay? And I'm not sure that that worked. Okay, we click play. Okay, I'm not sure why that didn't move with this. Okay, pelvis. Okay, it will only let me move it down, I guess. All right, because the pelvis has a certain focus, I guess. All right, so okay, so what happens is, so this really doesn't work because when he goes from one pose to another, he kind of slides. Let's go back, click play. He's kind of sliding, even though it sort of, if he was like hanging by a rope or something, it would kind of work. It would say, okay, well, yeah, he would slide like that if he was hanging by a rope, you know, or something. But it doesn't look like an animation. Okay, so we go Z, 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 Z. And we go back to 31 and Z. I think I can go back further. Okay, this is before we put the pose on. So then we have another alternative, okay? And this is what's called motion capture. It's like when you see these actors and they put all these little white dots all over their body, and the camera tracks all those dots and their expressions and what they do with their face and all of that. And now they have, like, they don't even have to put the dots on anymore. The camera can just follow a body because of AI and all that stuff. And so what they do is they record that motion, and then they create files, and you can download them in this program called, which one of them is the actual program here? Okay, so we go here to my, where's my stuff? My library. Okay, and in this library, now it says Blender here. We want to switch it to Daz. We have all of these animations, okay? And these ones are actually animations where we're pacing around. Okay, so if I search for dance, They seem to be my favorite category. Okay, let's do these. We have some new stuff. So what I do is I pay for a subscription for this every month. It's like $5 a month, but it allows me. Okay, now these ones say free. So what I do is I go here, save to collection. Dance, okay, is good. Dance, I guess. Dance. Cowboy dance. Free. Okay, I'm not sure. Well, I don't want to create. Okay, I guess it's already here. These, oh, those were free. These ones came with the, okay. So they're already in my collection. User view, okay, uploaded, listed. Listed. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any more that they've added. Marketplace. Dance. And all of these, I believe, mean that they're in my... Okay, we do a search for dance. Okay, so what we do, we'll go into user view here, in my library, in my plan. Okay, and we do a search for dance. Well, this is weird how that happens. Okay, because these are definitely not dance, so why isn't it searching for them? Casual walk, dance. Okay, I don't want, I just want you to search for dance. Okay, and it's not searching, so I'm just not really sure how to use their website yet here, but it does search when I go in my library. Okay, this is my library, and when I type in dance and hit enter, okay, filter, availability, combat, sort by, okay, poses, interactions, expressions, environment, directions, combat, actions, motion types. Okay, that's not working either. In my plan. Okay, dance. Okay, so apparently they haven't really done much to fix this. Okay, I have a collection here. These are ones I don't know. I must have created them and looked through and found them and put all the dance ones that I could find in them. All right, so we're gonna find something here that that's kind of cool. See, there aren't that many in here. Now I have other things. Right, Eve. I thought you would be interested in this. So we just kind of started out. I just gave a talk about how computers evolved to the point where we're on the verge of being able to actually do stuff with animation. That's with the 4090 card. But you could use a 3090 or maybe even 1080 Ti, but you would have to really kind of fuss to get it to work. Okay, you'd have to like lower the geometry in your figure. So, okay, let's do this. Okay, so we select him. Okay, it's going to load in here. Now look how cool that looks. And what we're going to do, see, we have Daz selected here. And I have to make sure I have my figure selected, which I don't. And then we're going to go back here to heat. And why do I have two heats open? We're going to close that one. Okay, I only need one heat running in here. See, this is the problem with this, is I've got two of them open. If I quit the wrong one, Okay, apparently I quit the right one. Okay, so now we only have one open. All right, so we're going to import this in. Now it says it's sending to Daz. You just find the animation you want. You click import, and it's done, I believe. Now if I could click play, it didn't work. Okay, so why didn't it work? Is it still importing, or did I do something wrong? Import, sending. Okay, that didn't work either. Let's go back out of here. Let's go back to the beginning here, and let's go range. How big is this animation? It's 120 frames, so we set this to 120. All right, we have 120 frames. Okay, we have our figures selected. Okay, I'm not sure why. Oh, I don't have the bridge turned on, connected. Where is that here? So we go and close this for a moment. Heat animations. You find that up in your Windows. So when you install Heat, you have to go to the Heat website site, and you have to sign up, and you have to pay them $5 a month and something like that, and it allows you access to all these animations. So, and they're motion capture animations. And then you go to the Daz website, and it's free. You download the Heat Bridge. Okay, so one is the Heat app, and the other is the Heat Bridge. In the Heat Bridge, you'll find in your Windows panes, after you install it, it'll be here. Okay, and you open it, and then you drag it and drop it into your tabs here, and you just click connect to Heat Bridge. Okay, and it's connected. That's it. That's all you have to do. You'd think it would just connect in the background, but there's probably reasons why you shouldn't have it just connected all the time. And this says download Heat Bridge. Is there a new one? You would think they would tell me in the updates, okay, in my update manager. Okay, so once that is connected, then I can come here and select this guy, select one of these, and it'll open like here. Make sure you have Daz selected, and it knows the difference between a Daz 2 figure, a Daz 8 figure, Daz 9 figure, Daz 3 figure, okay, male, female, all that. It just knows, okay? So you click import, and it's sending to Daz. And now check that out. All right, so he's ready to bop. Okay, and so we're going to select this to, how long was that 120 frames? Okay, now stop this madness. Okay, 120. I just can't have that looping back and forth over and over in the background. So we're going to go with 120. All right, so we have the exact amount of frames that come with this. All right, and then we just click play. And now you see how he's kind of sliding still. He's still sliding around. It doesn't look right. Something's wrong. Okay, well, I'll tell you what's wrong here. So we're going to go back to the first frame again. And again, you select his pelvis. Okay, then you select this. You have to make sure it's here, this joint editor. If it's not, you have to make sure you find. I think you can also find it in tools, maybe. Joint editor, yeah. And so you select that, joint editor. And you take this little red dot, because you selected his pelvis. You take that, you drag it down to the floor, like that. Now when I click play, you'll notice it's going to look a lot more natural. Like he's not sliding all around. Okay? That fixes it. Okay? And so suddenly you have, and now if I go into iRay, you'll see that it's not quite fast enough to do this in iRay. And I haven't even put his skin on yet. But as you can see, it's not really that fast, okay? And so let's do that. Let's go back now. Now, I'm going to explain to you about, now what this did was it put all of these little motions, his hands, his fingers are moving like this and kind of like that. And his head's moving. He might even blink occasionally. I don't know how much stuff is actually in this animation. It doesn't look like it came with any expression, so he's kind of like, you know, when he's doing this. So what you would want to do is you have sliders, okay? And so you can add more into this very, very easily, okay? To add more into this animation, and by going into your parameters, okay, and we got pelvis here. Just look with pelvis, and you've got legs spread right, legs spread, body hunched. All of these are just our sliders that you can do. But if you go to the Genesis 9 and you go here to morphs, where it pose controls, okay, and this opens, you have a ton of stuff. Now, like, okay, see, let's get out of this, because we fixed the problem with the pelvis, okay? So you have to do that, all right? I don't know why, but you have to do it. And now what we've got here is, notice his fingers, okay? Let's get out of iRay, and let's watch what his hands do. See, his hands actually look pretty good, okay? They're moving naturally, kind of like you would do. So they obviously they don't just like kind of like stay in one place while he's dancing, okay? They actually kind of move around a little bit, all right? So I would say the hands, like, but what out here, like about here, I would say maybe one of these hands could kind of go straight out, you know, instead of being sort of like he's grasping something. But it's still okay. I don't think the only problem right now is his face doesn't have any expression at all. It's just dead. Like, so when you click play, it's not doing anything. All right? So we can just come in. Since his face isn't doing anything, we should have it like free range to just add whatever we want into the face. So we go head, okay? And there are other things, pose controls, figure. So we go to head and we go to expressions, okay? And we'll start with maybe let's go to flirting. All right, so let's give him a flirting expression. All right, and then we'll move it ahead a little bit, and then we'll go to excitement, and we'll take the flirting out. All right, and then we'll go to maybe desire. Okay, and see what it's doing is putting all this stuff in between. And then we go here, and let's go to, and that's why you have a ton of expressions here. Okay, why all of these expressions that you buy? Because you can use them all in your fear. Okay, and surprise, angry, disgust, face compression, fear, happy. Let's go happy with the upper. And happy. Okay. And let's see, glare, happy. We'll go with make the happy one. Now that one's kind of goofy. Hopeful. Pleased. And then we'll go here. And we'll take the pleased out. Take the happy ones out. This one. And we'll switch it to... I think I had one more in here. No? Okay, so let's go down through these. Let's find one more. Lower, okay. Amused. Alright, so now when we rewind this, he should go through all... Alright, let's give him some... It kind of looks scary. That scared me. Alright, but let's see. Alright, save this. Let's save this as... what's his name? I forgot what his name was. Okay. Terrence. We'll call him Terrence. I don't even know that's how you use the general way of spelling that, but if it's not, well then that's... Alright, so we need, now that we have him kind of moving, now think about this, okay? Once you got him moving around and you got kind of the animation you want, okay, it's saving, so it's not going to let me do anything until it saves. Once you have the animation pretty much done, it doesn't usually always take like a huge amount of time to save, but okay. Then you figure, okay, I could have him dancing this and in a loop, but then I could show him doing the same dance and then put a camera on the side so I can go create. Okay, so let's see what this looks like here. See, before you put skin on him and put like an HDRI in here and maybe some kind of ground and everything, or a dance floor, or put him in a room or something, you want to kind of figure out, get all your animation stuff working with fingers, working with expressions, get all before you put hair on him and stuff. So let's create a camera like from the front. Okay, and now what's nice is when you move your camera around in the perspective view, it doesn't put keyframes in. So you can't animate the perspective view, which makes it actually really nice. Okay, so we're going to start another camera from, say, this angle, okay? And we'll come from way back. All right, now we go create, new camera, and we'll call this cam top left, okay? And I don't think I put it in the right place. Z. Create a new camera here. This. Okay, cam. Okay. I have to be so perfect here. All right, then we're going to take and go like this, and we'll do a top down. We'll move out a little, move him in the center. We'll come down a little bit onto it. Okay, and then we'll create a camera here. Perspective, camera top down. Okay, accept. And then we'll do one from behind here. Put him in the center. Okay, camera. Create, new camera, behind. Okay, and so we have camera front. That's our front camera. You can put as many cameras in, but each time you render the animation, he can be doing the same thing, but then you just switch the clip to a different camera of him doing the same thing, but from a different angle, and it kind of makes it a little bit more less boring than just watching the same thing over and over and over. So we go to the camera front, okay, we click play, and we render this here, okay, like that a few times, and then we go to, and we're what, 60 frames per second? We're going to go to 30 frames per second, and let's see what happens here. Now, what if we go total? Okay, so it is actually, so there are 60 seconds, I guess, 60 frames. Okay, so we'll go to 60. All right, so we can let this loop a few times. It does seem to loop seamlessly, okay? There is kind of like that part where his arm kind of jolts out a little bit, but it's okay. And that's kind of the beginning of it. When we go back to the beginning, go to the beginning. Yeah, so that's the beginning. Then we can switch to a different camera, the top camera, or top left. We can render him doing this here, okay? And it's not very smooth, but it's at least he's moving, okay? And it's not like one movement per, and that's what this 4090 gives you, is the ability to see a few more than just a couple frames each time it plays. Okay, it's not very much. And then we have the top down, and we can play this. Okay. And then we have the camera behind. And that's with the creepy smile there. All right. So we have all of these views. So now that we've kind of got something here, then let's put him in some kind of room. Now let's give him some skin. Let's put in. Now the thing is to do that, you have to do this from the first frame. Okay, when you start putting stuff into the camp scene. And also, like, I don't know if this is going to work, because I have to resize his eyes, because I don't think they're sized right in his head. Okay, and that'll become obvious when we start rendering this. Okay, is that his eyes are messed up. Okay, it's the Genesis 9 thing. Okay, so parameters. So the first thing you do is go 120. We're done putting poses on. We're done doing so, because you can resize his eyes, but then if you put another shape on him or you put him in a different pose, it could resize the eyes back. So you want to make sure that you got all your animation stuff done before you start kind of like perfecting things. Okay. I can't seem to get this to work. Okay, now we bring this over. There's one. We bring this one over as well. Okay, let's see if that worked. It did. Sorta, kinda. Okay. And we'll bring this back over a little bit more. Okay, I think that works. And this one might need to go in. I've got to learn that program, that nudge program. Okay, so let's give him some skin. And which one's skin? That's skin. Okay, we'll give him Wagner's skin. But we got to go back out because I never have him selected one. Okay, we got one more thing to do, and that's to select the eyes and go to this morph, iris. Okay. Now I know I selected him. Iris. Iris. And now it's selected his hip again. Okay. But at least I got the word in there. 9. Okay. All right. And for some reason it's not come. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Okay, we have to go to parameters. Oh, I was there. Okay, I have to actually have the eyes selected. Okay, there we go. And then we make them smaller. Okay, now we have that done. Okay, we're doing this all in our first frame. Think of a deck of cards, okay? And when you splay your hands through the deck of cards like you're shuffling them, and you spread them open and they go each one of them goes like that. Well, that's each frame, but the first card on the deck that's your beginning. That's where everything is set so that you can begin your animation. And so if I put it any other thing, then it won't have those elements in the first frame. Okay, so you always and if you don't do an animation, if you're not working on an animation, you're always still working, even when you just go into Daz and you make a scene, you're in frame 1. You're always in frame 1 unless you add frames and you open it up and you start working with more frames, but you're always on frame 1, okay? So here we're going to open this up, and now, okay, we can't give it the skin to his eyes. We have to give it to the body. Okay, we'll give him Wagner's skin, and then we'll give him some hair. Okay, let's see what he looks like in Iray. Probably kind of nice. Well, he's got a weird expression. I told you it's kind of creepy, but all right, let's see now. Let's go with some hair, brows, eyes, skin. Which one's hair? We'll go with some body hair. And come on, you gotta snap to his body. Snap. Not quite there yet. There it is. Now we'll lower that opacity on the torso because that's just way too much hair on the body. Okay, surface. We go surfaces, hair. Cut out opacity. Bring it down to about there. And the same with the arms. Down to about there. And the legs. The legs don't seem too bad, but I'm going to bring them down anyway because there's probably a certain angle where he's going to look like a Sasquatch. Alright, so which is okay, I guess. Some men don't mind that. Alright, and so now we go to, this is a horrible beginning pose. Alright, so when we click play, it's probably going to be slower than heck. Like we'll get 2 frames per animation. 1, 2. Yeah, it's only, and it's not, none of them are actually. Okay, so let's get him some hair. Okay, back to frame 1. And we put some hair on. See, so this is where we're at with the latest technology, okay? Where it's only going to show me 2 frames of the animation. Okay, because we have such high quality figures here. Okay, so we're going to, oh, I just put this on his left eye, I think. Okay. So that's not right. So we got to get rid of the hair. Okay. Wait a moment. Okay. Control Z, get rid of the hair. Okay, now let's I'd put it on his legs. All right, so let's go back to hair. Which one was that? This hair. We'll give him this ash hair. I've been liking this ash hair lately because I've kind of figured out how to use it. Okay, so the ash hair, you got to go in here and find ash. Okay, this would be in the smart content, ash. No, we're going to select this, ash. We go to select the ash scalp, default. Well, all right, what did I do wrong here? Materials. Well, there it is. Okay. And we'll go with black. And I find that this usually looks like it's not enough. Okay, so we go to the scalp and we go to surfaces. We have the scalp selected. And we just bring the cutout opacity up on this. And it darkens the map a little bit. We don't need it that dark. Just dark enough to kind of cover it a bit. Okay, and now I just moved him. So, oh, that's okay. And now I'm in the camera from behind. This is supposed to be, okay, so the behind camera. So I'm probably going to have to delete this camera because I moved it. Okay. All right, so camera, okay, which one are we? That's our perspective view. Okay, so this is a camera from behind now view. Okay, let's get a little closer to our behind camera. All right, let's add it again. Big cam behind. All right, so now we go back to, we have our perspective view, so we can move around with this. Okay. So we've got pretty much, you know, enough for him to dance around and do stuff here now and we have enough to make it, but we want some kind of, we don't want him just in a gray world. Okay. Unless you just want him to dance in front of whatever's behind it. And you can do that also. So what we do now is we're going to find some kind of environment for him to dance in. How about this fashion runway? Okay, environment. Okay, let's do the scene, merge into the scene, merge in. Okay. He still looks as goofy as he did. All right, now we take this scene, runway, bring it down so he's actually standing on the ground. And what if, now we've got him in the dark. Okay, this is Z. Okay, we have a camera here. We're going to not use that camera. But these are the fashion sceneway lights. So if we put them in there and then we move the fashion runway, the lights will move with it. what happens if we pull him into the light. Okay. Bring this up. A little too much. I hope we're still in frame 1. That would be a problem if we're not. Okay, and his feet are not quite on the ground. Okay, let's get out of iRay. Okay. And now, go back to iRay. Now the lights can be animated, okay? So I think I'm going to see if I can change his shape. I'm just not sure that I like the shape here. And I'm not sure if I can change it. And if it'll stay changed. I know if I change it, I'm going to have to do something with his eyes, I think, again. But let's see what happens with Gareth. That looks worse. Okay, Z, we'll go back. There could be, what could happen is there could be some kind of residual pose or something here. It's switching back. Okay, so we go to parameters. Currently used. Let's see what's in here for currently used poses. Alex. No, I don't. Take that out. Okay, I think this is okay. Let's see what happens when we look through our different cameras. If they're still in the room, camera front. Camera front. Okay, that's still in the room. Camera left. No, that one's not. Okay. And camera top. Okay, that's left. Top down. Okay, we're not in the room. Okay, there's a top down. And behind. Okay. So now we go back to the front. And let's scrub through this a little bit and see kind of what it looks like as we move. Like, what's it look like here? And here. His expressions look terrible. It's just like, I think what I needed to do was like back off of them. Okay, so I think what we do is we go find the expressions. Okay. Iris size, okay. All right, we went into, was actor, was it head? That was the eyeball size. This is the eyeball size. Okay, and we go, now I think what we'd have to do is find the face. Okay, we'll go back to the beginning. I don't think it was in this part. It's in Genesis 9. Okay, it's in here. And we go to pose controls, head. And now we can you can select the head also like that. Expressions. Okay, now this is the flirting one. So what we could do is just kind of back off of this. We don't have it so. And head, okay, and then where's the next one? Okay, so we move to the next frame. Okay, and excitement starts coming in. Okay, stop that. All right, where? I think it's playing again. Okay. I clicked the play button. All right, so we got to get out of iRay. And now we can kind of scrub through a little bit. What we can do now is we can turn, see I've gone backwards. So what we do is we turn off the hair, legs, okay, arms, hair. We keep the shorts on. We could even turn off the eyebrows. We could turn off his eyes. Okay. Eyes, mouth. Eyebrow card. You turn the tier, turn everything off that you're not using, and then we go down here. We got the legs. We can turn off the hair, and we can turn off the fashion runway. Okay, and then that allows us to kind of scrub through the scene. Now when I click play, you'd think it would play more than one. Okay, now I'm going to go into my perspective view. Control L, turn on the light, and he has no eyes or mouth. But let's, oh, we turned off the pants. Let's turn the pants back on. Now, you would think it would respond much better than it is right now. Oh, okay. Remember we put this skin on him? Oh, I know what we have. We have this script, remember? Okay, well, we have a script that turns everything on and off, but I've already turned it off, kind of, so now we go back to Genesis 9, and now you see we have this desire, okay, and excitement. They're both kind of on, and I've got to wait until I find where they go to 100%. Okay, that's 99. Okay, that took me to the beginning. All right. So desire, there's a way to tell here where it is. Let's bring this up some more. Head properties. Neck. What I don't see are these the expression, the dials. Shoulder. Now these are all the animations that we got from Heat. Okay, these are in the were put in here. Upper face rig. Lower jaw. I don't see any of them, so I'm not sure where they get put in. Now this animate, where the morphs get put in. So I'm still kind of trying to find my way through a lot of this. This projector, what are these projector things? Okay, so I'm not going to worry about them right now. Now, okay, so I know that if I select our figure here, Genesis 9, we go into transforms, it would be pose controls, and it was head, expressions, okay. Then we see these expressions, okay, excitement, so we got to wait until we get to 100% with one of these. Okay, 68, 76, 84, 95, 100%. Okay, that's the goofy excitement one. So we just bring that down a little bit. See if that works. All right. And we didn't need quite that much, like overboard on the excitement. Okay, so, and then the next one was desire. So I think as we come up through here, we're at 50, we're at 71%. And excitement, now we go back. And you see excitement at its top point. All right, so then we go till we hit to desire at 100%. 80. Okay, that's 100% rate. That's where I put the desire keyframe. So we're going to bring this down. So it's just so that his expressions aren't so. Okay, let's see if that works. And then, so, then we had another expression, and I think it was way, way down in here somewhere. We'll find it. There it is. Happy upper. I think I put that one at 100%. this was 80. Okay, we can creep back one at a time. There. It was 80.4. Okay, so 85 seems to be 82.5 is the highest. Okay, so we go back now. We just use a little less of this. I think I'm going to take the happy upper right off. Okay, it doesn't seem to be updating, but it should. Okay, and then we add one more here. Okay, this one's at 79. Okay, I didn't put that one at 100. I think I started to figure. Okay, 79.1. $77. Okay, so we got to go back till it hits 79 there, and we'll bring this pleased bring that down some too. All right, and I think I had something at the end. Okay, this is the last frame. I think I found something else too. That's 0.78. That's like not even on really. I guess not. Maybe I didn't put another one here for the end. Okay, let's see if I'm at the end. Well, even if I'm not at the end, it should still show like it is. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more. Let's just give him a little bit of a smile. Okay. All right. And so now we should have a different animation here. Yeah, there's a little bit of emotion there. Okay, so let's give him his eyes back. I can see. All right. Put him back in his room. Tear, eyes, mouth, eyebrows, hair, armpit, nostril hair, his head hair, and turn on the fashion show. Okay, so let's see what this looks like in iRay. Now he doesn't look so goofy. There we go. So you live and learn. So use your expressions moderately. Okay, just a tiny bit. And, you know, you can work with just like one eye, like pull the side of the eyebrow up. You can do certain things like make their mouth just a little wider, like it's smiling. You can do very subtle, you know. And somebody asked, and I don't know where Art is tonight, and we've, you know, got a few other people that haven't come in. Just to let you know that somebody mentioned, what, Rex, do you ever work with expressions? And I'm getting into it more. I'm finding that that all of my scenes, it's just something I've kind of like, because I kind of really like the neutral look of the character, that just kind of emotionless kind of look. It seems to work in a kind of serious way when you're just kind of making a serious kind of art, but usually, but a character, you know, when you give their make one eyebrow go up a little bit, make one of them furl a bit, and you just do a little bit, make them look kind of aside or something, you know, just change their face a little bit. That's becoming, you know, something I'm doing now every scene, so that there's just a little bit of some difference going on in their face. Okay, so now we go to the render settings, and I'd kind of like to warm these lights up a bit, so they're just a little too kind of like sterile. So where is my scene? Okay, fashion show, runway, floor lights. Okay, spotlight. Those are not my spotlights, I don't think. Okay, so I'm gonna parameters. We'll go surfaces, no parameters for the spotlight. Let's just warm them up a little bit. They are like as blue as can be. There's 1, 2, 3. Eventually we're going to get the spotlight that's actually shining on him. Okay, let's keep going. Come on, spotlight. I wonder if I can do all these together. I think I can. Go here. Yeah. I think I can. That did warm them a bit, but I think I can come down some more. We'll do them all. Daz really thought of everything. They are warmer now. Let's make sure they're all... No, see, it didn't change them all. I think that's all my lights, but we've got these projectors, and I'm not sure what those are. Okay. Projectors. Well, they don't have any, but they could have surface lights. Emission, no, they don't have emission colors, so they're not emitters. Okay, that's enough. At least it's warmed it up a little bit. Let's save this. I'd kind of like to light him from the front a tiny bit, so let's put a ghost light in so that his face isn't completely out of it. So we go to this. Let's grab this ghost light, bring it up, turn it that way, bring it out. Alright. I'm going to turn it like this. Let's try this. See what this looks like. Might be too bright. Yeah, way too bright. So we bring this down. Okay, we have the other lights kind of fighting for attention, which is going to make this very hard to render. So what if I take these lights and turn them off? Just used my ghost light. Okay. Let's make the ghost light a little warmer. That's the display. This is the light. This is the light. Emission temperature. Okay. So now let's look into rendering some of this stuff. So we'll go render with pick a camera, front camera. I'm going to move this camera. Okay, now I have to make sure that I am actually in the first frame. See, I'm not. I just may have messed this all up because I added elements to the scene. But I guess it worked. It didn't. There aren't any other keyframes for the ghost light, so it worked. So if I move my camera in like this, if I click play, does it change my camera? No, okay, so my camera doesn't have any keyframes yet. So it allowed me to move it in. Okay, so that's kind of where I want the camera. Okay, go back to the beginning. Let's save this animation. And now let's set up our render timeline. There isn't very much to this. So we go now to our render settings, render mode. Now general, we're going to render an image series. Base name, we'll call it Terrence. Okay. And we're going to go to this animation series. We're going to go here. Terrence. Okay, the path doesn't exist. I've got to create a folder. It's looking for a folder to put an image a series of images in. Now I'll render this at 1000. I don't want it too small. Okay, and then we go to... Okay, I don't know if I did that thing with his torso yet. I think I did, but let's take a look at this. Yeah, I did. Well, it doesn't look like it's down on the ground. That's gotta be... Oh, no, that's him. Okay. We have to select the pelvis, remember? Pelvis, and that's down on the ground. Okay. So that's been done. And now what we do is... Okay, we have the image series. Where it's going, okay, is into the Terrence folder. We're doing an image series. Now we go to progressive render. And I only want this to go 500 frames. Okay, so the maximum samples, and then you don't have to worry about this, but I usually turn that off the maximum time, it will hit 500 frames before it hits the maximum time. So, and then go to the next frame. So this is how many, this maximum frames is how many iterations it will do before it stops and goes to the next frame. Okay? Now if I click, let's find this. Where in the heck is this? This is in my iCloud. Okay, so we go to iCloud, and then we go to animation. Where is it? Where is it? iCloud, my original Daz. Okay, and then we go here to one of these says animation series. There it is. And it would be Terrence. You have to put them, you just, this isn't really hard. Don't, you know, because I have like a million hard drives and all that, and that's all this stuff is like, but all you have to do is create a folder to put all of the stuff in. So that's what we're doing, is we're going to that folder, okay? And we're just going to have it open and ready so that when we start rendering, like right now, because I don't have long hair or I don't have clothing that needs to kind of fling around when he's dancing, we can just do this, okay? So now it's got to render 60 frames, and we're going to see here it is. That's our first frame. Okay, view, extra large icons, and this is Terrence. This is one image series. See how tiny that is? So, but if I were to render this like at 1,000, iterations, or I mean 1,000, because I did what, 500 resolution, 500 in 16 by 9, so 500 is the wide, so it's even smaller than 640 by 480 actually. Let's see, we right click, go to properties, details, okay, here, and it says, oh, I rendered it at 1,000 actually, so it's 1K. So it's higher than, and that's the wide angle, so it's a little bit higher than HD, than the low end HD. What would be, 1920 by, what, 1080 by, well, 720p is 1026 by 720, I think, and then 1920 by 1080 is the high end. Well, that's like 2K, almost 2K. So it's got to do 60 of these. But as you can see now, as I go through them, boom, 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 he's moving, okay? So go, and the more pictures I have, the more he's going to move. So, and this shouldn't be too bad. And he's going to have a little bit of some kind of expression going on in his face. So right now he looks like a deer in headlights. So I don't know if I have the light in the right place. It's like, oh no, I'm dancing in my underwear. Don't worry, there's nobody watching. Well, there's now people. So you are being seen, Terrence. All right, so yeah, but if I put more clothes on, it'd take longer to render. So, but as we go back through these frames, we're getting to see, His feet don't look like they're going through the floor. It's not, at least not yet. So this isn't bad at all. This is, so it's going to take, now, the first frame, I didn't look to see how long it took, but this is frame 12. So what you do is you watch the first frame and it tells you how long, like if it took like 14 seconds to make the first frame or something, or 7 seconds or something like that. Then you ask like Alexa, and you say, Alexa, what's 7 seconds times 60, you know, or times 120? And and Alexa will answer and say, well, that's 2 hours and, 10 minutes. And then so you know how long roughly that your animation's going to take to render. Because I hate figuring seconds into hours. So, and you just ask and they'll instantly know the answer. And you just say, how many is 14 seconds times 60? And they'll tell you, well, that's like 2 hours or something. Echo, how many is 14 seconds times 60?
14 seconds times 60 is 14 minutes.
So it says this will be done in 14 minutes. Okay. I'm not sure that I want to stay long enough for this, but so what we've to human vision perceives 15 moving images per second, which is the cinema format, would be 24 frames per second. Yes, Javier. The human vision can perceive up to 200 frames a second. Okay, and the reason why I know that is because the U.S. Air Force measured it and released that information. So the human brain can perceive 200 frames per second, but 30 frames per second will fool the eye. 24 frames per second comes close to fooling the eye with a little bit of blur, and natural blur, which kind of the eye, we're used to seeing things kind of blurry. And so, but 30 frames per second is enough to fool the eye into sitting back and saying, oh, this is motion. This is, this is motion. But the human, and if you look it up on Google, you'll find out that the human eye can actually perceive 200 frames per second. So, according to the U.S. Air Force. And I believe that they have to know how many frames per how much the capacity of the human eye, so that when they're flying these fighter jets and all, that they can know exactly what the eye can perceive and how quickly it takes the eye to recognize something. So, but you can go as low as 24 frames per second, and you're right, Javier. You can, if you render at 24 frames per second, which you can get away with that and very easily, and 24 frames per second kind of fools the human eye as well, okay, with a little bit of blur, but it does fool the eye. Most of all films we watch are all 24 frames per second, except when they have some action scenes. So these films, so But if you go to 24 frames per second, that's an extra 5 frames that you don't have to render per second to and it cuts down on a lot of times. Now, if you were to go to 15 frames per second, it might still fool the eye. It all depends. So, but this guy is moving. He's not just kind of sitting there. So, 15 frames per second, you could almost just have one frame and repeat it, if they're just sitting there and staring. But when they go to blink or something, then you got to have a few frames to cover that. And that's where 14, frames per second, 15 frames, it might work. But 24 will definitely work for most cases. I'm stuck in the 30 frame kind of mindset, but you're right. I probably could have trimmed off a lot of time here. Just going with 15 frames would have worked. Okay, so let's kind of just go through these now. It's not the actual, but that's as far as we've gotten so far. A little hop and a twist. So it looks pretty good, though. And it doesn't look like his foot, maybe it's going through the floor a little bit, but it's a spongy floor. So, yeah. So, well, to kind of recap again, we brought our figure into the scene, and we didn't put any texture on him at first. And when I had him in the scene, and now can you add the eyes later and the mouth? A part of me says, yeah, you should be able to, but then there's a part of me that says maybe they won't move with the body right, and maybe you have to bring them in at the beginning. So I'm not certain about that, but it's something to consider and test before you go working on a full animation and then say, well, Rex said I could put the eyes in the Genesis 9 eyes and mouth in last, because, if they are going to have expressions and smile even a tiny bit, there's got to be some teeth there, a little bit of teeth showing. And, the eye sockets, it's very important to have something there. Now, I don't know if I didn't check his eyes to see if they were still resized. But I do know that if you resize the eyes, they stay large unless you add an expression somewhere. And that particular expression could have some eye information and change the eyes. And so if it does change the eyes, then at that frame, you have to go back in and change your eyes to 120 again, move them where you kind of want them in the skull, and they should figure, the computer should figure the in-betweens. So from your first frame to the next frame where you've added an expression, a little bit of an expression. So I might have now too little of an expression. I don't know, but it's something to kind of think about. Okay, it's been 12 minutes. We're on frame 44, so we got to just a few more. So you see, this is at 1K. 1K isn't that bad. Like if I take this and make it full screen, what I would say that about this right here is that at full screen, it's blurry. Okay, and that's why you have to go at least to 2K. All right, he does have some expressions, and they don't look too goofy. All right. Yeah, for animations with fast movements, action scenes, somebody playing the piano, you don't want their fingers to just, as they're moving, to be like a constant blur in between. Okay? If you want action scenes, you want to go at least to 30, and you might even want to go higher, okay, depending on because when they swing the bat, you're gonna if you stop at each frame, you're just gonna see a blur there, okay, but if you have more frames, then it's gonna stop and pick all the little teeny frames in between per second. So if you got 15 frames per second, it's only going to see so much in a second. If you have 24 frames, it's going to see more per second. If you have 30, it's going to see more. If you have 60, it's going to see a lot more. If you have 120, that bat you're going to see that bat in focus. See, I mean, look, he's barely in focus. You see, that's because it's 30 frames and it's motion. But it also, the problem with this, because his motion, you can see his hand isn't a blur, okay? It's just that he's blurry. And so what's causing this blurriness is that it's only 1K, okay? If I had done this at 2K, this would be just as sharp as could be, okay? But I only did it at 1K. And then, like, if you'll notice in the background here, is a little speckles. It looks kind of, that's because I only rendered it to 500. I believe I set it to 500, yes, 500 iterations. So you can see this little graininess here. Okay, that's because it didn't have long enough to render. But you know, it's still kind of okay. So it's still kind of okay. So we have 56 frames. We only have 4 frames left. And then we can take this into Photoshop and put it together. And so then what you do, so at this point I would say, so you render it, him doing this certain jig here from the front. Then you render it, you look through your other camera and render it again, render a series of that from the side, and you render from the top, and you render, and so then you end up with like, you got like 60 frames per, so there's 30 frames, so there's 2 seconds each, because there was 60 frames. And so there's 30 frames. Okay, we're done. So we go here and we select. Okay, we go to Open Photoshop. And there's one of my scenes. Hello, Gordon. So he's on the beach today. So Open. And then we go to iCloud. No, not Photos. iCloud Drive. And we go here to, was Terrence, right? No, we go to my Daz PNG, animation series. And then Terrence, where are you, Terrence? Okay, it was animation series. Terrence. Okay, and then you select the first one, and then you click this little thing where it says Image Series, okay, in Photoshop, and click Open. And it says frame rate 60, and it's like, no, it's 30, okay. And then we have it here. Then you come up here to this, and you click Motion. There's our video. Now, if I click play, it's not going to play smooth, okay? So it'll play a little bit smooth, but it's still not the size that it's supposed to be. All right, so what we do is, it's not the speed it's supposed to be. So now we go File, Export, Render Video. Initializing video export. And frame rate 30. And we're going to put that in finished videos. We'll call this Terrence. And I think everything is high quality. Okay, everything is good. This is an MP4. It's going to be in finished videos. Render all frames to 0 to 59. That's 60 frames. So it's 2 seconds. Okay, render. Okay, and the thing is you can loop it. So now we go here to this image series. Okay, we can close that. Okay. Let's not fight. I guess it wants to be. All right, so we go up. Okay, one of these says, I think, image series. Or that may be in another folder. EFGHI. Okay, so it's up one more. Finished videos, that's it. We got Terrence. Terrence, there he is. So this is the full scene, okay? And as you can see, it's not too, and he does look kind of still goofy. So I'm not sure my expressions really worked, but this, the thing is that he's, it's such a short animation, and his feet still kind of look a little weird on the ground. And there's one part where, see, so the thing is with animations is they rarely ever really work. And what's kind of good with what you do with these animations is if you make them with a background, where there's no background, then their feet won't go through anything because they're just kind of dancing in space. And so then you can have them like kind of walk past, like the screen here. And then you don't have to render all this side stuff too. And so you would come in here like this. Okay, let's close this so he's not dancing like forever here in a loop. It's like, stop. Okay, so we get rid of the background here. We just delete this like this. Okay. I'm not going to delete my light. We're going to just delete the runway. Okay, and now we turn off the ground. Okay, remember to do that, or else you're going to have a shadow here. And the shadow, you may not want that shadow cast, rendered. Okay, and what'll happen is if I trim this and I only have him in a small area, and what if I go to the timeline, and let's see what happens if we go here to the end. Okay, that's the end. And then we go back into here. Come on, restore. Okay, and what happens if we grab another dance thing? All right, let's do the raise the roof one. Import. Now, I don't think it will replace that whole thing. I think it will just add on to it, but let's see. Okay, so now we go to, we wait. It's doing something. So this goes 0 to 59. I don't know why there are keyframes actually after 59. There's like, all right, now it's adding that. This might be a long animation. Yeah, this is 240 frames, the last one we did, so we're adding that on to a 60 frame. Now it looks like, yes, it started it here. Okay, so we got to go up to like 360 or 300. Let's go to 400 and see how many there are. Okay, that's all right. So it goes up to 400. Okay, this, where are we now? What current? We're at 399. Okay, that sounds okay. 399. What happens when we go one more? Okay, I think we go out of the animation. So, darn. Go to the end. No, okay. So let's go to 399. Oh, that's 399. We actually want to go to, what, 240? I think what it did was it just put the whole, changed my whole animation. I think if I want to use like two of them together, I have to make this into an anti-block. Okay, so this says what, yeah. This says 240. Now how many have we got here? Yeah, I think it replaced the whole thing. Let's try a different dance. Yeah, see, that's from the beginning. And it might have even changed his expressions, which were terrible anyway. All right, we're in iRay. Let's go out of iRay. I kind of don't like the fact that it did that. Okay, so we have to stop this at 240. Okay, that one appears. Let's zoom in. Here's how you zoom. It took me forever to realize these are here. Now, don't leave it zoomed in when you go to render, or it'll only render what you're zoomed in on. Okay, that's the last frame, which is 240. I just wanted to verify that. Okay, and so now we're just going to set the total to 240. What? Now I want to make sure that I 0 to 240. Okay, so it would be 241, I guess, maybe. Oh, no, this counts from 0 to 240. So this would be 0 frame. Oh, that's 2. Okay, that's 0 frame. 0 to 240. So there, or it'd be 1 to 241. Okay. So, all right. Now, what we have to do is go into our environment tab, our environment thing, and turn off the ground so there's no shadow there. And then when we render it, okay, we go to, now I'm gonna crop this in, because if he's not gonna have any shadow, see, if there's a shadow, what'll happen is you have to make this really big around him, because it will chop off the shadow and it'll look weird in your animation to have your shadow cut off, because the shadows are usually longer longer than a human, so it's not going to work. And so you just kind of have to turn off the shadows, or you have to render it really, really big to encompass the shadow. Okay? And then we go to our render settings here, image series, okay? And we're going to change this. Okay, we're going to go up one, and we'll go create a new folder. We'll go Terrence. No background. All right. And then we go into here like that. Select it. Okay, now it's going to put them in there. And I have this front camera selected. Let's see what the cam left looks like. Let's play this and see if this is something we want. Okay, it looks okay, but what we're going to do now is go into our render settings and let's change our aspect ratio to portrait. Golden ratio portrait. Okay. Let's see if we can get him to dance within this little thing here. Now he's going out of the scene. So, and you have to be careful because you have to go to the first frame to move the camera, or else you're going to end up animating your camera. Okay. Like this. Now click play. Does he step out? Do his hands stay in the scene? Looks like we got it. Perfect. All right, so we'll do a kind of side down in. All right. Stop it. Stop. Okay, go to the beginning. And this time we're going to change the size. Okay, it's not going to change our camera perspective. It's just going to put more pixels in our scene. So we're going to go at least 2000. I've found that 2000 gives you a nice, even at 1920 by 1080, 2000 gives you a very nice image, okay? And then then you got to go to this, how many iterations, and you want to do at least 1000. I know that seems like a lot, but you don't want that graininess in your image. Okay, and we're going to save this. And we're ready to render another image series. So let's see how long. So pay attention to the first frame, because that'll tell you how long you're. And now this time we have 240 frames. We're not doing 60. We got 240. So but we've got a smaller area, but I've put more dots in it. Okay. So what we're going to do is, now the thing is, I don't want to make sure I mess this up. We're going to save this, okay, as an image series, okay. And so that will be like an MP4. We'll load that in. Okay, so we're ready to render. So we go here. Now we're going to pay attention to the first frame. Okay. 10 seconds. All right, 15. 19, we're going to 1,000. 390, 27 seconds. Come on. Keep going. 600. 36. 8, 9. Okay, 47 seconds. Echo, what's 47 seconds times 240?
47 seconds times 240 is 3 hours and 8 minutes.
Okay, so this is going to take 3 hours and 8 minutes to render. Okay? That is what I mean about your computer and animation. Okay, so my computer is going to be busy for 3 hours, like 4 hours, okay, rendering this. But I will show you how nice this is going to look, okay? And you know what? 4 hours. When I had my 1080 Ti, almost everything I did took 2 hours to render one picture, okay? And so this isn't too bad, okay? So we're going to go back here. All right, we'll go up here. We'll go to iCloud. And that was what? My Daz Studio Renders. No, it was original PNG. And this one was called Finished Video. No, not Finished Videos. Animation Series. Okay, and this was called Terrence Side View or something. Terrence, okay. Terrence, no background. Now you're going to see something very sharp and clear. Okay, see this? That is very sharp and clear. We don't have his feet going through. So he could just come in and like I could have him like on the side here. I used to have some and I don't know, I don't think I have them here anymore. But I used to be able to just push a button on my Stream Deck and I could have like somebody come up and dance in the I deleted them out because I had to get back to simple and because I had to redo everything. So but this is one frame, okay? We've got a couple of frames probably. Now look how nice his hair looks. Look how nice his body, his skin tone is a little bit. I took him out of that room. There were some. The lighting is a little bit kind of vampire-ish, but looks like his eyes will be good. I think this is going to come out perfect. And that's the thing, is that there might be a little bit of slipping with his feet still. But and this little angle, his legs look like there's a kind of like a little too much of a space here, like I might not have the body thing. Now that stuff I was teaching you about using Genesis 8 figures to, I am finding that the Genesis 8, it's just the head that really works really well with that whole thing where you can combine all these heads together and come up with something completely new. But the whole thing, you can't do that with the bodies. You're just really better off just morphing one of your Genesis 9 figures bodies onto it. Okay, you can try. Okay. But you might end up with these really kind of weird looking joints. Like this looks like a little bit long here. Okay, so it might not be, but that's the thing, is that the body, and I'm kind of perfectly happy with that, because as long as I can like morph all these heads together and come up with a face that still works and looks really cool, and that's unique, is one of a kind. Like this guy, he's got a one of a kind face. He's like, I didn't buy him on, I didn't really look to make sure. You kind of have to go through every frame to make sure their hand doesn't actually go through their leg at some point and do weird stuff. So that's another thing. So as we go through this, I'm not going to wait for 3 hours for this to. Now I could do some work And now if we zoom in, look at the resolution we've got here in this image. This is not bad, okay? This is like really, really good for resolution. Like really crystal clear, good. And you could put a video of this guy dancing online, and a lot of people aren't going to know that it's not a real person. They're not expecting to see something like this in 3D. This sharp, with this much resolution in it, they're not expecting to see this because it's so new. You know, if you showed them The Sims, you know, walking around, they'd know. They'd like, oh, that's not real. But when you show them something like this, they don't know where this comes from. They just don't. They don't have a place in their head to say, oh, you know, a lot of times people have already learned, like, oh, that's AI. I can tell. It's just like there's just a certain look that's kind of fake. But with Daz models, they're so realistic that it's really hard to tell that it's not a real person. And so people will say, oh, that's a nice photo, you know, and they do that with my renders, with my Daz renders. They'll say, oh, that's a lovely photograph. And it's like, no, it's not a photograph. But, you know, I'm not going to tell them, you know. I'm not deceiving them. I'm not doing that on purpose. It's not my intent to do that. I'm just saying that at this point, you know, to tell every single person that sees something that it's not a photograph, it's not, you know, they'll figure it out. And it kind of takes away from the enjoyment to say, oh, that was done with, you know, light mirrors and smoke, and, you know, that was that's not, you know, it's an illusion, you know. It's just like don't spoil it for people. So it's just that's the thing, is that, so he's going to put his hand down eventually, or you'll be able to see his face. But I think we're only up to like frame 10 frames. We got 10 frames. So we got this frame. You get to see a little bit of his face there. Okay. And you can see this is going to be, and that's, Echo, how many seconds is 240 frames at 30 frames per second?
If there are 30 frames per second, then there are 60 seconds per 40 frames.
I don't think that's the answer that right. So 30, 60, 90, that's 3 seconds. And 200 is another 90, and then so that's 6, 7, 8, about 8 seconds. So this will be about an 8-second animation. And so that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's done. And it'll and then it will loop. Okay, hopefully it'll loop well. So the idea really is to get the longest kind of thing, and then just set it to render overnight, and then you've got, you know, a fairly good, you know, long animation of somebody dancing or something, and then what you do is you render it again with it from a different camera angle, and then you render it again from a different camera angle. You can render the same thing. You don't have to change anything except just switch the camera angle and then hit render, and it will render from a different camera angle. And then you can piece them together and have it switch camera angles instantly, and then see the same dance kind of from a different perspective. And people just won't really kind of mind that they're doing the same moves because it's a different camera angle. It's from a different angle. So that's something to think. And you can move the camera. So you can animate the camera to move it around. So my recommendation is don't put their skin on and don't put their hair on. Don't put anything on them until you get their animation done. And if you can leave the teeth out and the eyes out, I tried it, and then when they went to move around, the eyes didn't track with the body. I might have just put them in wrong. I might not have had them selected when I went in and put them in. So, but if there's a way to build your scene, build your animation without the teeth and eyes in there, that's another thing that can help until you're ready to do some expressions. And the expressions are going to be kind of hard to do. All of this is difficult when it takes so I mean, we're at that stage right now, people, where your computer, like with Windows 95, where I remember when we could only record 3 seconds worth of audio. And so you'd say, like, my name is Rex, and that's it. It's like, and I wanted to like record a whole song and have me play my guitar and sing. It was like into it, and it's like, nope, you only are allowed 3 seconds. And so that was way back with Windows 95, and so now you can record multi-track. You can record 30 tracks and have a band and have the computer just recording all 30 tracks at the same time. But when it comes to video, you can record 4K, 6K on, even 8K on some computers. My computer could record 8K video. Just record it right to the hard drive with no problem. But when it comes to animation, we're still like 20 years ago. 20 years ago with animation. We're talking spending, 6 hours for to render a 9-minute or 7-minute, 4 to 6 hours. And there's nothing even in the background and everything of this. It's just a guy dancing. But look, he's got the body hair. He's got really, really nice skin textures. He's got very fine hair, and I believe that's the Omni hair, eyes, teeth, and a little bit of clothing. So, yeah, it's going to take a while to do this. So, all right. Well, I hope let's see how far we've gotten with this. Do his hands move away from his face? I probably picked the only angle where his hands completely stay obscured and you just can't see his face at all. So I probably should have recorded him from the front, but it's too late now. So we're up to 18. So it's going to take a while. That first frame, it might take longer than the subsequent frames. So let's see, 46 seconds, 54, 14 minutes and 58, I think. So, all right, well, people, thank you for watching. That's going to do it for me today. Please like and subscribe. And click the bell for notifications, and I will see you again. This is RexRed saying so long. This is Ez3DTv. Please leave comments, and they are welcome. Thank you, people. We've had Javier, and Eve has been here today, and 044, and Angus. People, have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will see you again in the next Ez3DTv tutorial. Good night, Eve. I hope this was helpful to you. And this is only part 1. So we're going to be doing some more. Good night, Angus. Good night. We're going to be doing some more stuff with animation. So this is part 1 of the series. And we're going to go into Aniblocks and using Aniblocks and converting them into the timeline and get down into the nuts and bolts of really fine-tuning your animation. So, all right, take care, and I will see you again soon, people. Bye-bye. All right.